refurbished technology and things of that sort. So what role can circular ICT practices play in fostering community responsibility and reducing eco-anxiety?
Well, I'll start of all just going back to where this discussion started, and that is digital emission, where we said at least everybody in this house is contributing to digital emission, because this refers to the carbon dioxide associated when you use your phone, when you use your TV, when you use your laptop. Any of those things contribute to emission of CO2, and this is because, remember, these items are powered, right? And if they are powered by electricity, then we know electricity will come from fossil oil, right? So the connection there just tells us that each one of us is contributing to CO2. We are all warriors of climate change, but in our little way, we need to recognize that. So as we talk about circularity, we'll also say where these emissions are coming from. They'll come from data centers, because that's where we have our servers and big ACs that are able to cool these rooms. It comes from our networks, whether it is through fiber, satellites, all these, undersea cables. I know people in this room understand this language very well. So all these are powered by energy. We have our devices, our computer, our laptop. When you're streaming, when you're putting your files on the cloud, all that storage space is powered by electricity. So that just goes to show that as we point fingers to a lot of these organizations into how they are contributing to polluting our environment, then each of us has a role to play. So then how do we reduce? One, stream smart, even for the bloggers and the people in the house who are huge on social media. If you can use lower video resolutions, that would help. Download instead of streaming, only stream when it is very necessary. Use Wi-Fi instead of mobile data, because mobile data uses more energy, meaning that you need to power your device. More energy, more CO2 emission. Number two, declutter your digital life. We take photos. I don't know how often. If you look into your mobiles right now, maybe the gallery is almost full. So this is not only good for your gadgets or maybe for yourself, but also for our environment. Because remember, when you declutter, it means less space used on Google Clouds, and then it means Google will use more power to be able to sustain that. And subscribe to unnecessary newsletters. We always find out every Monday, every Tuesday, every Saturday, there are newsletters coming in. So kindly subscribe if you don't need them. Number three, power management. I have seen sockets and phones everywhere and laptops as we power our gadgets. So the more power you are using, it means that you have more demand for KPLC. KPLC will need more demand to be able to keep all your devices online, which means more oil used, which means more CO2 emitted to the environment. So I know a lot of us are also guilty of leaving our phones, charging the whole night. If you're able to reduce that, that would help. So just using power saving settings. I think most of our phones have that feature, and our laptops. So unless when it's necessary, make sure that your battery can run as much. I know some of us, even when it's still 100%, you still have your machine charging. Buy less, use longer, extend the life of your device. Unless it's absolutely necessary, you don't have to keep buying for the sake of buying the devices, because this means that new devices will need more material, more minerals. We no longer have those precious metals. Our mining areas are all exhausted. So that is why we are actually now using, we are big on recycling, because they are not able to get the precious metals anymore. A lot of the phones, especially the high-end phones, have precious metals there, whether it is copper. Some of them are said to have gold. I'm not sure about that, so that we don't go looking around for gold in mobile phones. But that's the other thing about recycling, because it helps us to sort of harvest some of the parts that would be required instead of us manufacturing. And that's why you'll find some of the leading, for example, Samsung is huge on that. They will ask you to bring back the older device and then top up something small and get a newer one. This is because they're just discouraging the the use of newer ones, because newer ones would mean more materials, more precious metals, which is scarce right now, right? So let's recycle, and when you're recycling, recycle with the best recyclers. You know, we center all the other licensed recyclers. Then I like the fifth one, green your search. I have never used this search engine called Ecosia. You know, we have young people in the house, maybe they look out into that. So I'm thinking if we had a movement where we would all force Google search to show us that they power their activities through maybe renewable energy or something. Because we are all on Google every day. So every time you click Google, it means, there is a requirement, there is energy requirement. And if the energy comes from oil, then that means that we are all somehow contributing to the emission. The other one, bookmark frequent sites instead of every time searching. So these are things that I know right now in this room, small things that we can contribute in just making sure that even as we are in this digital space, then we are taking care of the environment, there is less emission. And that, of course, contributes to circularity in terms of just using our devices, going techie, making money from it, but still taking care of our environment. Yes.
Fantastic tips. Thank you so much, Nancy. Most of which I'm guilty of. So I think I'll be doing an audit myself. Which brings us now to, so with climate-related stress increasing amongst youth, how can schools, workplaces, and homes address digital-induced anxiety while promoting environmental responsibility?
Thank you. That's a really important and layered question. Because eco-anxiety and digital overwhelm are now deeply entangled, especially for young people who are constantly online, often without guidance, and who are inheriting the parenting crisis. I believe this response is threefold, starting with schools. So when we look at our schools, we need to move beyond digital skills to digital wellness literacy. That means teaching students not only how to use devices, but how to step away. Schools can become climate resilience hubs, integrating unplugged time, mindfulness moments, food security through, food gardening, and, climate storytelling that, builds agency, not fear, in that way, from an eco-anxiety perspective. In homes, our families play a crucial role in modeling healthy habits, co-creating screen routines, weekly tech-free hours, even turning e-waste disposal into a family ritual. So these small actions rebuild trust in their ability to care for the world without being consumed by it. And then in our workplaces, our leaders need to see eco-anxiety as a signal, not a symptom. We can promote policies like digital detox and leave practices, the HR people in the house, invest in low-emission tech, and create safe. And low-emission tech, just from the guidance as well that Nancy's given is solid. Just in terms of how we can improve the workplace, and create safe spaces for climate conversations at work as well. But ultimately, when young people feel seen and equipped and connected, they can move from climate fear to climate action, and that's our responsibility to help them shift from anxious to being more anchored.
Fantastic. Thank you